I want to talk about one more, which was, well, okay, I have to ask about two more. So let's start with 2014 first. In 2014, I'm just going to read this again and we can talk about it. You trained your memory with a world memory champion for a year in order to be able to remember anything. That was awesome. It was just the commentary you provided. The question that I wanted to ask is, I think people listening would be fascinated to hear a little bit about what does it mean to train your memory? What are some of the things you did there? And then, if you could give everybody a cheat sheet or one hack or one thing that's an effective tool to be able to do, is there anything you can share there? Any simple, easy tools?
Yeah. So there's a story behind each of these experiments. And the story there was that I had forgotten to call my mom for her birthday the year prior, so like 2013. And I felt really bad about it. And my sisters told me the following day, I think, hey, you didn't call mom. And I was quite upset. And so I decided, you know what? I'm never going to forget stuff like that again. So made it my experiment for the following year, found this guy, Mark Channon, who is an incredible memory guy. And he was a memory champion in, I think, late 90s. He had a show on the BBC training people to improve their memory. And when I say train, I mean train in the most direct way you can think about that, which is you have some strategies as you do in anything, and then you just apply the strategies day in and day out, and you practice them until they become muscle memory. And an example that I'm sure a lot of people have heard of is the concept of a memory palace. So if I tell you to think of the road between your house and your favorite coffee shop, you will right now be able to picture it. Everyone listening will be able to be like, oh yeah, I see everything, every single building, every single sign, it's in your memory. A memory palace basically attaches something that you want to remember to areas in this memory palace. So let's say that you wanted to remember the first 200 digits of pi. There would be two steps to that. One, and I know because I used to recite the first 200 digits of pi just for fun at dinner parties. And there are two steps to being able to do that. The first one is for every number from 0 to 99, I used to have an image associated. So like, I don't know, number 53 would be an elephant. And then what you would do is on your way to your coffee shop, right outside your building of a house, there's an elephant. And that's, the first two digits you want to remember. And then you just kind of put these objects all over your path from home to the coffee shop. And it sounds silly, but it works incredibly well. A very practical example of a memory strategy is remembering names, right? How do you go about remembering someone's name? Because you're just meeting them, you're shaking hands, you're already thinking about what you're going to say next. And before you know it, you don't know what they're called, right? There's a very simple strategy that I now apply every single time that's really effective, which is I find the closest funny thing I can think of that kind of sounds like the name of the person, and I just attach it to their head. So if I'm meeting someone called Rich, I will just see a bunch of dollar banknotes around their head. And then next time I see them, I'm very likely to remember that they're called Rich because I will just see their head, in banknotes floating around. It sounds silly, but it works. These strategies are incredibly effective.
Well, it's fascinating that in both of those examples, there's a visual spatial element to memory and to trying to remember these things, which makes sense. One, it seems like you're including other senses and, making it a richer experience. But yeah, two, it's like less 2D, less floppy disk, more three-dimensional immersive.
Absolutely. And Mark, who trained me, had this really a phrase that really stuck with me, which is that a person with a great memory is a person with a great imagination. Because if you have great imagination when you're speaking with someone and you're trying to picture things, to remember things and so on, it makes you more present, and it makes you more likely when you're looking at that person to remember the things because they're seeing objects floating around them.
That is, I'm just literally making a note of what you just said. I love this quote. It's amazing.